Okay, so I am doing synthetic phonics. Basically what synthetic phonics is it is blending, segmenting or breaking apart words, and then also breaking up the words into phonemes. So synthetic phonics is basically teaching children that alphabetic letters have their own unique sound. And so instead of kind of beating one sound at a time, we start with like a grouping. And so in synthetic phonics, they talk about making sure that you're not teaching sounds in alphabetic order, that you are more teaching sounds in an order of what is used most commonly. And so they give the example of these 8-letter sounds. So we would start with a s, a, t, p, and d sound. And they talk about making sure like that because kids they have the ability to be able to learn things in groups. So instead of like all week long working on this sound, snake, sat, sing, all of the things, we can work on each individual sound of this grouping. And then it talks a lot about making sure that you're not just teaching all 26 alphabetic letter sounds like first and then starting to blend. They're basically saying that we should make sure that we are blending right away. So once they get down all 8 sounds, let's start blending. So we'll start with the example of, and making sure that we are using just these sounds and not like thinking, oh, well, that we use these letters, but let's add another random letter in there because it's only 3 letters and like it'll be easy for them to phonetically sound out. But we're really trying to focus on just these sounds first, and then we can start adding things in as the children start to progress in their understanding of it and the understanding of decoding. Because we want these sounds to become like sight sounds, and sight words. We want all of these blending words to end up becoming sight words, because as you're looking at this word, you don't have to phonetically sound it out. You just know that this is sat because we already know it. So we want to make sure that they know them so well that they can look at this word and say sat as well. But this isn't the case right now with them because they're just not learning. So we look at the word and we ask, do you know what this word says? And they'll say no. And then we say, okay, well, we know what sounds that these letters make, so let's identify the sounds. So we'll ask them to point to the letter, and we'll say, what sound does this make? S, a, t. Okay, and then we're going to have to model as teachers the blending because they're not going to get it right away. So we're just going to continue to kind of teach like, okay, so we said s, a, t, and then we'll blend sat, sat. And then we'll talk about, okay, so this is the word sat. What does sat mean? And sat's probably not the best example considering we'd probably have to talk about tenses and stuff, but we could also use sit. What does sit mean? To sit. And then we'll talk about the meaning so that we're pulling in decoding, but we're also pulling in some comprehension in there. So that's a good way to do it. And then just basically teaching, you can teach spelling out of that. We can work on the word sit, and they can write it down by phonetically sounding it out. And yeah, they can just practice their decoding skills with these 8 sounds because we can make so many words out of just these 8 sounds. And this is just going to help so much in making them feel like they're able to start to read because they're going to be able to as they continue to work on these sounds and blending words together. So yeah, this is kind of what phonetic or synthetic phonics is, and you can definitely do fun little activities with magnets. As the children start to progress, then we can start to add in, teaching, wow, did you know that 2 letters can actually make 1 sound? And then, we can start to talk about, okay, well, we already know the A sound and the M sound. And now that we know that the SH sound makes the sh sound, we can blend this together. And then we can do the sh, sh, sham. And then, that just then brings us into, okay, now we can change the sound of different vowels, and the list goes on and on. But this is kind of the way to start synthetic phonics, and just kind of the idea and the basics on synthetic phonics.